What was your biggest hope or goal in making this new album?
I just wanted to see if I'm a better guitar player and a better singer than I was 20 years ago. Like that was the question. But I could not have tackled these songs that I sang on this record 20 years ago. I wasn't that kind of singer. And that's a testament to a guy named Ron Anderson, the late great Ron Anderson, who trained me vocally for years, and just some hard work and perseverance, and that's that's kind of how it is.
Speaking of the blues as a genre itself, what drew you so heavily in your taste to the more British interpretation of blues as opposed to, say, American blues music?
Well, I mean, I got to Mississippi and Chicago through London because my father he loved Rory Gallagher. He loved, he's Irish, and Gary Moore, also Irish. But he loved all that Clapton, Beck Page, John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, Alexis Corner, even Jethro Tull, and all those bands, Cream. They're all covering blues songs, and that was a lot of suburban white kids in the 80s. They're like 70s and 80s got their start listening to that kind of music, and then you go like, well, I don't even know what a Muddy Waters is, and then you're like, oh, okay, now I'm starting to see the lights coming on slowly. But what I mean, it's just the truth. A lot of people will lie to you and say they immerse themselves in the deep stuff first, but most of us 40 somethings heard Stevie Ray before we got into the deeper stuff.
And I noticed on this record, your covers were seemingly more chosen from American artists, which I thought was a nice, interesting kind of twist.
Yeah, it was a different thing. I mean, because sometimes you would cover. We did Lazy Poker Blues from Fleetwood Mac, and but a lot of times, I don't want to be covering a cover. I didn't want to do. I mean, I did Jeff Beck's Blues Deluxe. That was the title of the first album, title of the song. But we did a lot of that kind of stuff anyway, along the way. So these are just some of my favorite songs.
Walk us through the creation and the story behind the first single off the record, Is It Safe to Go Home, which I listened to last night and absolutely loved. What's the story there?
It's Josh's tune. And when I heard it, he pitched it to me. I was like, we should do a Gary Moore treatment to this. We need the obligatory Gary Moore moment on the record. Big Syrian guitar head and some leads, and that's pretty much it.
You co-wrote "Hope You Realize It" with Grammy winner Tom Hambridge. What was that collaboration like, and how did that come about?
Tom and I have written a lot of songs together. We have written a lot of songs, probably close to 50 or 75. I mean, I got to count them up. It's crazy. And we wrote a lot of the Eric Gales record together. He and I write really well together. And we had this one kind of like sitting around. We hadn't cut it yet. And I said, we need something upbeat and funky. And ta-da, here we go.
I wonder if the guy in the video is still running.
I don't know. I never had anything like this. I don't appear in my own videos in case.
I know. Yeah. But
every year they're like, hey, you want a cameo? I'm like, not a chance. You let me know how it turns out. I don't do that anymore. I did one when I was like 23 and Scarred for Life will never appear in any, mock-up video of anything. I'll be on a DVD all night long, but that's because that's a live show. But as far as in the video, that's not happening.
Is there any story from recording this album that's kind of stuck out with you the most so far? Any special story that
I think the most interesting thing about the record is because the first one took 7 days mixed and mastered. Okay. And the second one, even though we had budgets, a much bigger budget for the second one than the first, it took less time.
Oh, wow.
It actually took less time. I think we knocked it out. I think we did 8 songs in 3 days, and then we did 2 songs one day, and then a strings and horns day, and then we mixed it. I mean, it was the fact that we were able to do it so quickly. It wasn't like we were shaving time because we didn't have time. We had plenty of time. We could have done it in a month, but it's just like, okay, we got it done. Next, done. It's just great musicians, a vision, Like everybody's on the same page. You know, it's all cut with my band, and they're you know really solid, you know, cats, and we, you know, some of the best in the world, you know, and then there's me, which just trying to keep up with it all, and turns out it worked out fine.
24 Hour Blues, Bobby Blue Bland standout. What made you pick that song from his catalog for this album? I mean, was there a specific musical idea you were trying to get with it or something?
You know, I just love the song, and it's got melody. It's a nice, it's a great, you know, it's a great record, you know. I mean, just, and it was really sophisticated. I mean, Larry Carlton's playing on the original one. And you know, that record is that Bobby did. I've been talking all about myself for all day, so the title of the record's like escaping my mind. We did the song with Mark Broussard, the title track. Anyway, I'll think about it when we're off the. Anyway, that record is so strong, and you know, it's Bobby at the height of his powers, and just making commercial blues. You know, they were going for hits back then. BB had hits, Bobby had hits. You know, I mean, it's not like this. You know, we're complacent now in the blues that we expect nothing from radio, and we're always, you know, right on point. But you know, back then, AM radio playing the hell out of BB King and Bobby Bland. They're playing, you know, Thriller's Gone was a pop hit. You know, try that. The last blues song I think was a pop hit in my opinion was Tracy Chapman. Give Me One Reason. That's a blues song. And that was a hit.
Yep. And I'll turn that car around. Let's see. So what's one song off this record that kind of surprised you the most with how it turned out?
I would say I was not. You Drive a Hard Bargain. I wasn't sure we could pull off. But I'm actually happy that we did it. At first I was like, I don't know if I could cut that, but we did, and it came out good. And I'm proud of that version.
I've spoken with a lot of, you know, musicians about, you know, which song might be their favorite. It's kind of like picking which kid is your favorite. But if you had to kind of pick one of the songs, which one are you most excited to get out in the world?
Well, I think at this point they've all been released. By the way, the title of the Bobby Bland album I was talking about is called Dreamer. So it just came to my mind. And Mark Broussard did a wonderful cover of that, by the way, for his SOS4, the blues stuff that the blues album that we did. Just killed it. I mean, just such a great version of that song. Well, I mean, they're all going to get out there eventually. There's no singles. There's no real running order anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just all kind of
a different world.
Spotify or Apple Music. It's just, well, this song's out of order. Doesn't matter. So enjoy one, enjoy them all, enjoy none of them. It's just, I don't care anymore. I'm been doing this way too long. I've seen the business change a lot, and the perpetual optimist in me says, okay, somebody's going to put it, you know, play it in order. I don't care. Just like, if you enjoy one song, you want to make your own mashup of it, great. You want to mix it with other stuff, great. Stream away, kids, stream away.
Is there one song, and not necessarily from this album, and not even necessarily yours, whether it be yours or someone else's, that you enjoy, that gives the most back to you emotionally playing?
I enjoy playing Self-Inflicted Wounds. I thought that, I think that song was a couple albums ago, and Redemption album. I thought that was really good, and we still play it to this day, and it's still pretty cool. It's still a good, you know, it's a showstopper. People love it.
And I'll tell you, for me, when you played The Thriller's Gone, I mean, live, I mean, to me,
that's, you know, I rarely do that. You know, because it's not a cover. It should be done in the right context. Not all. You know, it's the same. It's you want to save that for the right context. We used to do that. You know, we used to do that forever. You know, but.
Well, it's quite special when you do. Are there any artists that you have on your bucket list that you've yet to collaborate with?
There's a bunch of people we've been talking to about doing stuff with, and we just got to get around to it. So, hopefully in the next year we'll start kind of ticking the boxes, and we have a list, and we've been in contact and doing some collaborative stuff, and but it's a lot of work just to be out touring now. This is one of the biggest years touring of my career. We've done a lot.
It's a jam-packed tour. I was looking at the tour dates, and
it's unrelenting. So there's not a lot of time to really just sit back and take a breath and go, oh, okay, well, I got to get to that. There's just so much stuff to get to.
And I was going to ask you about that. I mean, it's a rather city-packed tour, and you've got shows in March right here on the Gulf Coast. What can fans expect to see and hear at your shows on this tour?
It'll probably be a hybrid show of Blues Deluxe Volume 2. We'll get to the classics, whatever they are. But don't ask me about 2 weeks from now, let alone 2024. I'm like, I don't know. Well, I'll get to it when I get to it. So I'll let you know in February of 2024.
Joe, I know you're tight on time today. So thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Joe Bonamassa.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.